Gen Z may not be your target audience or your target consumer right now, but if you understand them, if you watch how they consume content or buy products, it's a way to future-proof because they are going to be highly influential in how we all behave in the future. Gen Z is right now between the ages of about 7 and 17. So the oldest ones were in kindergarten when 9/11 happened. It's the grave new world for them. They only know post 9/11 and they only know school shootings and recession. So they have a practical perspective on what they need to accomplish in their life. I mean, they saw their parents lose their jobs. They know people that can't afford college and have student debt. So at a very young age, they're planning their future. They want to be healthy, they want to have a career, and they want to be successful. Because they've grown up in a grave new world and they're fully aware of reality, they don't love polished, perfect situations. They want their entertainment to reflect the world they live in. They don't want fully happy endings just because that's what's expected. There is no once upon a time that resonates with them. What they want is realism. They don't like it when there's a model in a cornfield with her hair blowing back perfectly, putting on mascara. That's not going to sell the product for them. What they want is a story of what the product does, how do I take care of the product, what is the product going to do for me, and show it to me on a real person.
Hey guys, it's Jen. This is my new bae. It is like...
Because they're much savvier about where they're spending their money. They're doing research on products, and so they don't want a celebrity spokesperson that's going to make them feel like if they buy this product, their life will be perfect, because they know it won't be.
And that's why you need deep magic.
So they're really fascinated with creators. That's why this idea of knowing who the creator is, and if somebody can tell a great story, they can be a fan in a way that they never were before. You've got kids now, we see it all the time, who know writers, they know individual artists, they know creators because they respect their output. They respect a brand that can tell a great story. They respect someone that can take a beautiful photo. It's a very different level of awareness now that has sparked this respect and admiration for true storytellers. They obviously want realistic stories, but they want to be able to learn new things. That's why there's this surge in biographies, in documentaries. Young kids, even millennials, they love documentaries because it allows them to experience history, not just read about it, not just hear about it in school, but to actually dive in and experience it in a way that feels more in touch with their lives. Over half of millennials and Gen Z, they pick their clothes every day based on what it's going to look like on camera, because there's such a visual generation. Everybody's being photographed and filmed all the time.
So I'm just gonna flip this from video mode to selfie mode.
There's no difference between online and offline. In fact, saying online just shows that you're dated because they're always connected. And so the idea of your community is really different because you have the community of people that you deal with on a daily basis, but they have relationships with people that they've never actually physically met and that they feel like they know just as well as somebody they see every day.
I'm gonna tell you about the album.
You have kids now that are meeting one another through Minecraft. One kid might live in China, one kid might live in the United States, but they have this shared passion and they can connect with one another in a way that allows them to find someone that's like-minded, but through those relationships, they can discover an entire world of things that they might not have otherwise had access to. You think about it, they might learn about new food, they might learn about a great book, they might learn about music, back and forth. And this sharing of culture that started with a shared passion makes me very optimistic for the world.
From SMA Marketing, Adam Fox.
How is everyone? You guys having a good day? Good afternoon? Okay, here we go. Let's get excited. We're going to talk about something that's really, really interesting to me. I'm going to get excited. I'm going to go fast. Some of the SMA team is in the back that's going to be like, slow down, we're going to get through it. Who you guys saw was Janine Waterman. She is with Waterman Agency. She is become an international expert on generations and really looking at the millennials and Gen X and really talking about their buying and power from a B2C perspective. But the problem we're looking at right now is what's happening on the B2C side. They really want on the B2B side because you're going home and ordering things on Amazon or Office Depot or Macy's or Nordstrom's. Well, why can't I have that for work? So Janine does a lot of that kind of stuff and some of that research. And it's a video I actually found that I thought kind of really highlights where we're going and what we're going to be talking about. So what are we talking about? The presentation in your books and your guides said we're going to talk about generations and millennials or so yesterday. We're going to talk about the entree of Gen Z. That is true. We are going to talk about that. But I want to frame the conversation. I want to frame it in such a way that you understand that we're talking about marketing and how have these generations shifted the way we go to market. So kind of look at it from that perspective. Presentation's broken up into two sections. The first section, an introduction to Generation Z, who they are. The second section is really what has that done and how has that shifted how we go to market and how is that going to affect everyone in the room. Does that work? I like engagement. It's going to help. Does that work? Yeah. Okay, great. I need that, I'm a millennial. I need that affirmation. So let me introduce myself to some of you. I've been with SMA since May. I met most of you guys in Salt Lake. The remainder of you I've met today. So I originally grew up in South Florida. Went to Florida State. Go Noles. There we go. I know there's somebody in the room. All right, that's awesome. From Florida State, I moved up to DC. Love DC. It was awesome. Doing my MBA at Wingate currently. I do some volunteer work for my local fraternity here in Charlotte. I do CrossFit as much as I can, or as much as Chris lets me leave at 5. Currently engaged, really into politics, so the whole political storm of what just happened was captivating during the 2 weeks of the conventions. I came in every morning just exhausted, but it was a lot of fun. You see Aramark, Sodexo, and Compass. I worked for all 3 of them. Just like every millennial out there, I had to check them all out. Started my career with Aramark at Florida State in the marketing department, went over to Sodexo because I had the dream job with Sodexo. It was the travel job. I had the entire East Coast, and guess what? I got to support the sales team. After about 18 months of traveling, I hated it, couldn't wait to come home. When you're on the first name basis with TSA and Reagan, it's an ugly place to be. Good morning, Adam. Ooh, that's ugly. So then I said, you know what, well, let me take this cool job with Compass Group in DC, had all the government accounts, the most miserable place to work, but we'll talk about that. About 6 months into working with Compass, we got 29 inches of snow in Washington, DC. That is a photo right outside my apartment in DC. At that moment, I went online, went to LinkedIn, found this job, met Chris, and here we are. So here's what we're going to talk about. Let's take a look at some of the generations. Let's look back at baby boomers to the end, the Gen Xers, the Gen Ys, kind of the millennials, Gen X, Gen Z, where we're going to go. And then this new generation, Generation Alpha. They've done no research on them, none. They know nothing. They're calling them the Google kids. We'll talk about that at nothing today. But we're going to spend a lot of time talking about this generation right here. Because I like to have some fun. Let's all kind of have some fun. So in the SMA office, it's where our leadership team sits. It's good stuff. I'm over here. And we have some fun trying to bridge the gap of where we're at and where we're going. But as Kristen always tells me, just show me once and we'll learn it. So here we go. Let's meet Gen Z. Who are they? What are they about? They were born between 96 and 2009, currently under the age of 21. Majority of them are sitting in the college campuses right now. For so long, we've been focused on millennials, and the millennials are truly the most learned about, studied generation out there. No one has ever done any research on the generations like they have the millennials. And Gen Z is different in many ways, but they're different in ways that you wouldn't expect. And they're different in the ways because they got to witness what happened to their brother and their sisters or their friends who are millennials because of what happened in the world. And we're going to talk through that. So the next several slides are really going to dive into who they are to kind of shape why they are the way they are. So let's understand these folks. Let's understand our new buyers. Let's understand the employers that are getting ready to knock on your door really quickly. Or, employees rather. Born between 96 and 2009. Make up a quarter of the American population. A quarter. Are eager to build a better planet. Are always connected through their mobile and digital mediums. So think about that. They're always connected. I literally just turned off my Apple Watch a second ago because I didn't want it to go off while we were talking because I would have been all excited. I got somebody who tweeted at me. They want to be anonymous and unrestricted. So where the millennials were so excited, I'm in the bathroom, I took a photo of it. Whereas this group, they'll take the photo, but they don't want you to know where they are. The geolocator's turned off completely. Love to curate their own content. You're going to hear about so much of this tomorrow, but let's talk about this for a quick second. They like to share. They want to tell you what's going on. They're all excited. If you guys notice, I took a photo, if you guys will notice on the social wall, about all the boxes that came in for everything you guys got over yesterday and today. I want to share that. What does that mean? Let's get excited. Build the excitement. They love to share content. And we're going to talk more about that later on. Are economically and environmentally conscious. So not just whatever. They want to know, what does that mean? What is the impact of X product? Hold little to define brand loyalty. For the first time, the major brands have no idea what to do. Because they're not, oh, I'm only going to go to Nordstrom's. No, I don't really care. If it's cheaper, I'll Google it. Etsy. Anybody know what Etsy is? Yeah. Random people, home we have a great talent, who do things. My mom thinks Etsy is the coolest thing in the world. That's why I'm on a first-name basis with the UPS person. Because they find these cool things and they send them to you. That's what Etsy is. It's nothing to do with big brands. It's local people. Are influenced by social and digital personalities rather than traditional media and celebrities. They're not watching CNN. They're not listening to Dan Rather at night. They're not listening to then Walter Cronkite. No, 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 no. They go to Twitter. Or they saw that Adam posted that it's snowing in North Carolina Saturday morning, and I got a phone call. Well, I shouldn't say that. Mom called me. I got a text message from a friend. Is it snowing in North Carolina? So think through that. They're not looking at what's normal anymore. We've known that. And we're going to dive into that, too. So, comparison between the two groups. This comes from Sparks and Honey, an ad agency in New York City, who they really focus on generations. So the millennials were known as two screens. They looked at their computers and their phones. Those were the two screens they really talked about there. Then we look at the Gen Zs. 5 screens. Chris and I have this debate in the office all the time because we think it should be 4, but they're saying 5. They're saying 5 screens are the TV, the computer, their phone, a tablet, and a laptop. So they're considering the laptop and the desktop computer as 2 different screens. We can argue that, but we just like to have some fun. Judiciously share, they turn the geolocator off, whereas millennials tell you everything, anything, wherever, whatever, and however. Communicate with images, emojis. How many of your, let me ask this question. How many of kids who fit in this group? The millennial group. The Gen Zs? Let me ask you this question. We'll keep going with hands. How many of you call your child, they won't answer? But if you text them, immediately, they do. And that's how they communicate. Or better yet, they get images. Chris and I have this. I sent something to Chris this week, and he sent me a thumbs up. Chris is cool. They're realists, whereas millennials were optimists. I'm always going to tell you the glass is half full, and let's do that. Where the Gen Z is really, it's a realist. The glass is not half full, not half empty. It's at 3/4. Okie dokie. Want to work for success. This group is really the entrepreneurial group. Whereas I'm all excited about, I wanted to come in at the CEO level. Didn't even know we had a mailroom, but I want to come straight in at the CEO level. Gen Zs don't even care about that. They want to build their own business. And they're going to fail really fast, then do it again, and do it again, and do it again. So, cool slide, a lot going on here. But let's kind of look at this. 1 in 4 of Americans are living in poverty during this generation's uprise. We're talking about the Gen Zs right now. 73% of Americans were personally affected by the recession. They saw this. This was that generation who was home. This was that generation that was watching Sesame Street while certain things were happening, specifically 9/11. This was the generation that saw PBS for that week no longer broadcast a rerun of Julia Child or Sesame Street. They broadcasted the local news. So that's this generation who got to see 2 planes fly into a tower. And how did that shift? They didn't understand it, but the new world. This generation has always had an intense TSA experience. As we talked about being socially conscious, a lot of things happening here, but let me ask the question. We have an opportunity here. And what I really want to talk about is, are we behaving in a sustainable way? And this isn't just you directly, it's just really all of us. We talk about your fleet, we talk about your warehouse, we talk about lighting, energy savings. Are you doing some of these things? Okay, people with your hands up, how many of you are telling people you're doing it, sharing that story? And that's okay. We don't always tell our stories the best way. And that's kind of where we need to be. Talk about what it's doing and how it's doing. This generation cares. They want to understand why working with you will be better for the overall economy or the globe at that point. They don't, Green Seal certified, we're done. We've moved past that. We just expect that everything is going to be okay. Traditional choices don't guarantee success. They got to watch their brothers and sisters go to those really expensive schools, both Ivy League or whatever kind of college. Then they wanted to get a master's degree. Guess what? They're home, living with mom and dad, or they're working at the local grocery store. I have a ton of friends. We all graduated together who went to law school, who went to graduate school. 2 of them are still working at Publix because, now they're a manager. He has a PhD, but he's a manager of the local supermarket. Totally cool, nothing wrong with that. But their brothers and sisters got to see that, and when they made the decision to go to college, they got a degree in something a little bit different than, astro whatever. Now they're doing something a little bit more important. The other thing to talk about here is change happens really fast. We used to talk about boomers, Gen Xers, 20, 30 years, a decade, and huge time periods in between them. Millennials, Gen Zs, we're talking 10 years, quick changes. Change happens fast. How quickly are we adapting to that kind of change? Let's also discuss education and how that works. All about the inclusive classroom. As Paul mentioned earlier, as Nate mentioned earlier, as everyone kind of mentioned earlier, everyone gets a trophy. That's okay. I'm not suggesting we should all go home with trophies. What I am suggesting is, how are we celebrating our customers? How are we telling that story? How are we for lack of a better example, how are we connecting with the customer of the month and telling that story, and why are they the best customer at that time, and making them feel part of something? That's the whole thing. I'm not suggesting you all go out tomorrow and buy trophies for all your customers. I'm just trying to give you an example. The other fun thing to notice is later tomorrow, you guys are going to have a presentation by the Bond Group. And I think Mark Evans in the morning is also presenting it. They're going to show you this awesome graph. It's going to show the ages of different things. And we are in the age of the customer. Customer's in charge. Not me, not you, the customer. They know more. They've been doing their research. They're coming to the table about 80% through the sales cycle and through that funnel. And you guys will see some more about that tomorrow. But keep that in the back of your mind about this generation knows what they want. They've been there. They've done it. They've talked about it. So this is a cool presentation. This is my good friend Gary Vaynerchuk. I've never met him. I saw him in a presentation. Chris and I both saw him in Boston together. I think he's a really cool guy. The video you're about to see is about 30 seconds. It chops really ugly. It doesn't pretty. The reason is he gets really profane really quick, and I want to have that for today. So if you guys can click on that for me. Really intense there at the convention center after that moment. Gary Vaynerchuk was one of the first people to invest in Twitter, one of the first people to invest in Facebook, so he's doing okay financially. What Gary really talks about is what content and how are we winning by putting our stories on those channels? So think about that. We all remember ABC, NBC, they put out the best shows, they tell it, and they put out commercials during that. He really was talking about the concept of marketing. No one's watching those shows anymore at that time. How many of you record something or go to YouTube or go to Netflix, you binge watch a show? Who's watching the commercial? Who got so pissed off on the Golden Globes Sunday night that they didn't even watch it until 30 minutes in so they could fast forward to the commercials? Or if you're like me, you were really excited to watch it live because I had to follow along on Twitter. So think about that. So the commercials are completely different. This is the way we do it. Or when the commercial's on because it's a live feed, you're on social media and you're looking because you're just sitting there with your phone. That's where we are. And are you being broadcast in that way? Is your stories being there? This generation, and the reason I say that, they use social media as their research tool. None of them are going to a library. None of them even know what the Encyclopedia Britannica is. I don't. We were working on Dick's presentation. He said, can we do this? And I'm like, sure. I didn't know how to do it. Went straight to YouTube. We figured it out, and there it was. That's the kind of stuff. That's where we're going. So if you asked me how to strip a floor, I have no clue what that means. I'd have to go figure it out and learn about it. And how would I find that? Mark's going to tell us tomorrow what happens when you do that, or how to clean a bathroom. He's going to show you when you put those research results into Google, what does that mean? Their social circles are global. Think about this for a second. No longer is their social circle the church group, or the basketball team, or the dance troupe. They're on their Xbox, they're playing games, their global socials are everywhere. My 14-year-old cousin, I was at their house a couple of weeks ago and I hear screaming from the second floor. And my aunt says, oh yeah, they're playing some type of video game. Okay, so I went up, I'm interested, you know. I played Mario Kart, I thought it was the coolest thing ever. I was really excited when Dad would play with me, we'd have 2 players. He's playing with friends across the globe. He has a friend in China, he has a friend in California, he's got a friend in Italy. They're all playing World of Warcraft or whatever game it was. Not an area I specialize in, but it was kind of cool. Their circles are global. Take it one step further, they had a group project to do for class. They didn't do it in person, they didn't do it on the phone. They did it because they paused the game and they were still talking on the device. So their circles are out there. They had never met some of their friends. 26% of Gen Zs would have to fly somewhere to meet a friend. Kind of interesting. It's another interesting takeaway. This generation, millennials, but really Gen Z, these are where they sit on social media platforms. Over 50% sit on Instagram and sit on Snapchat. Who in this room is on Snapchat? Awesome. From a B2C perspective, great. Business to business, they're just now coming to that. So this is really from a B2C perspective, but I want to share this because the future is on the right side of this chart. We're all on Facebook, we're all on Twitter, we're all on, we're all on YouTube. Are we doing anything with it? I don't know, but we have it, we liked us, you have a page, we're there. And the reason I'm also pointing out the right half of this is with Instagram and Snapchat, images, just images. The attention span of this generation is 8 seconds, down from 12 in the early 2000s, 8 seconds. So when we talk about the 30-second elevator pitch that Paul talked about this morning, how much quicker do we need that to be? I can't get it out that fast. So think through that. How fast does your website load? How quickly, if I went to your site, could I learn about who you are or what you are if I can even find you? I'm going to leave it there. 288 million. Anybody know what this number means? Close. Not at all. Anything. Cell phones? Yeah, population? Lon, you've been having a great day today. Here's what it is. It's the number of heart emojis used yesterday on Twitter across the world. Damn, so close. 33 million thumbs up, smiley faces. Gen Z adopted a whole new language. Remember wingdings on like word art or whatever? That's completely gone. This is what it is now. These are where it's at. There was this huge fight a few years ago between Google having their own and Apple. And if you guys have an Apple phone, I have an iPhone. And they updated their software a couple of months ago, and they had, here's a whole new keyboard of things that they have now of emojis. It's pretty cool. If you guys in the back will bring up that website for me. This is the emoji tracker. This is the coolest thing ever if you're a dork. Like me, this is so cool. This is every emoji being used currently on Twitter across the globe. If you guys will click on one of them for me. You guys will just click on any of them. So the broken heart emojis, a lot of unhappy people or sad people right now. That's what it looks like, and if you look under live tweets, that's how it's being used across the world. Languages you have to understand, but if you got that in a message, you not necessarily need to know what it says, you understand the concept. This group speaks in images. If you guys can let me go back to the presentation. Awesome. So, but wait, how does this affect me? I know some of you are sitting there and saying, that's really cool, my kids, my grandkids do this. How does this affect me? I'm a businessman, I sell things. What does this do? Watch, here we go. You guys have seen some of these brands, we've talked about them. These generations, millennials, Gen X's, have completely reshaped the way we do things. Who's been in Uber? We've all used Uber, I assume, or Lyft or something of that nature. Who invented Uber? It's not New York City, the guy with the most medallions. It was two guys out on the West Coast who tried it. And guess what? It's working, and it's revolutionized the way we do transportation. I know we're going to talk about that. It's going to continue to come up. Paul, you stole my thunder. I was a little excited about talking about it, but you stole it. It's okay. Housing, Airbnb. Marriott should have come up with Airbnb. Hilton, not two guys in California. So I pose this question to you guys. Are you guys putting yourselves out of business? Are you thinking of ways to put yourselves out of business? Because I can assure you there are plenty of people that are doing it right now, and I think we're kind of feeling it. What's next? How do we reinvent what we do to be different in an economy that's changing? So I just made you really uncomfortable. I did my Challenger sale. Now I'm going to make you comfortable. We're going to win. This group wins. Here's why. This generation wants to do the research, wants to better understand it. We'll go out there, we'll know everything about the product until they get to a point. And that point is, I want to touch it, I want to feel it. How many of you have heard of the company Warby Parker? Okay, great glasses. Warby Parker is revolutionizing the eyewear industry. You don't have to go to LensCrafters anymore and spend $500 on glasses or anything like that. You go on Warby Parker's website, they have a ton of frames up there. You select 5, they send them to your house. Within a week, you have them, you can put them on, you can try them on in your own home, in your bathroom. If you're of a certain generation, you can take photos and share it with all your friends on Snapchat. You do what you want with it. Here's the best part. You put them all back in, you send it back to Warby Parker. In the meantime, they've sent you an email asking you, how was the process? Did you like them? Send us a photo of your prescription from your doctor, or have your doctor fax it to us because, as they put in their email, we know they're not that technologically savvy. Send it back. Give us your credit card information. By the way, you need to measure it. Take a photo of yourself with your credit card. We have an algorithm that runs it. In 10 days, the glasses are in your house. Guess what? They cost me $100. And they're pretty good. Chris actually has a pair of them. I have a pair of them. They're pretty cool. So if you want to see them, feel free. Casper Sleep System. Beds, revolutionizing the bed industry. Go online, see it. They'll send you the bed. You'll get a huge box to your house, gigantic box. You roll it out. It's like the sponges, those little ones, they expand. Put it on your bed, you try it out. Try it for 90 days, they'll send it back, no worries. This generation not only wants to do the research and know about it, they want to try it, they want to touch it. So I'm going to go back to my original example of the janitor or the with flooring that needs to be stripped. We have a sales force, a human sales force. They don't need to sell, they need to be educators. This product does this, and it has this experience. Do you have a video about it? Are you showing a video of why this product is cool and what it can do? Think through that a little bit as we talk about our sales forces and how that works. In my humble opinion, we win. Because Amazon's wonderful, and it's really cool, and we've all bought things from them. But we all know we've gotten to that point where the content wasn't that good. The photos weren't that good. There wasn't a 360. Is it really 7 inches? Is it going to be 13 inches? The name tag holders you guys have, they're a little bit wide. You know why? Because I couldn't find a name tag with the proper sizing because I wasn't sure if the name tags were going to come back from the right size. Wished I could have called somebody. Wasn't going to happen. Think through that. And Kristen's going to talk about what really great content looks like tomorrow as well. So we heard a lot about the workforce today. We heard a lot about what it looks like and and where we're at and where it constantly is. A makeup of the workforce today. 54% of today's workforce are millennials, according to Pew Research. 54%. What's that workforce look like in just 5 short years? So in 5 years, what does that workforce look like? Boomers and Xers, you're at the top. There's about 15 to 20% of you. The majority of the workforce, unfortunately, is me. Get excited. And Gen Z, the smallest group, is now starting to be in there because they've graduated college, and here they are, and they're sitting at about 10 to 12% as well. Who's heard of Beloit College? Really? Well, you're from the Midwest. Beloit College came up with a concept of the college mindset list. I implore all of you to go and take a look at this. I will send you guys out a link after the meeting. They've gone ahead, and this was the thing that they did for colleges. What is the incoming class of X year, so the incoming class of 2020, what are they thinking? What's their mindset? So this is the 6 things I found on there. I just pulled from their site that they've put out every year, and it helped professors and the college administrators kind of get an idea of what's coming in. But 5 years ago, the retail industry found it, took it, and it became this huge thing within the retail industry. I share this with you today because this is what your first set of employees in the Gen Z world will be like in a few short years when they graduate college, because they're coming to work. Think about this for a second. Bush and Clinton have always been campaigning for something big. James P. Hoffa has always been the president of the National Teamsters Union, and Sandy Hook tragedy is their Columbine. And I like the top one because it was what happened this year. Harry Carey trying to sing the 7th inning stretch. They've never heard of it at Wrigley Field. Think about that. There's a ton of other things, probably about 30, 40 things, but it's one of those things where you take a step back. And if you have children who've graduated college in the past 10 years, go take a look at it, because there's some interesting stuff in there, and you kind of take a step back of, there was the example earlier of Captain Antonil. I actually looked at Kim in the back, and I said, I don't get it. So it wouldn't be a presentation unless I give you guys something to take away, and how do we talk about it, how do we win? Here we go. So the first thing is, tell your stories. And I'm not just saying, that we're a 100-year-old company and we're doing great stuff in Ohio. This is what I need you to do. Tell your story across multiple screens. With programs like Hootsuite or HubSpot, they'll allow you to put stuff in there and tell that across Twitter, across Instagram. If you guys notice on our social wall, there's tweets that we've put up. We've preloaded some of them. It's going out across all our images. It's going across all our channels. Type it in once, go to many. And there's other things out there like HubSpot, which will help you type a blog and use the proper words to do that and stuff like that. And if you guys have any questions, of course, we can talk about it offline. Live stream with them. This is something that's really kind of cool. It's come up really big in Facebook Live and in Snapchat. Go out into the warehouse. You're loading the truck. A 30-second clip of the truck being loaded and tell something about it. Where's the truck going? Tell something of that. 30 seconds, you're in the car in the morning. I'm dying to do 30-second Dick McGann moments of just great thoughts that he have. He will not let me put a camera in his car, but we're working on it every day. Because I think he's got great insight that he could share with us in 30, 40 seconds that we could put out there. Optimize your search results. Probably the most difficult one of this, but it can be done. SEO, search engine optimization, Google AdWords. This is where it is. For those of you that don't know, let me tell you a huge secret that everyone knows. Google runs the world. Donald Trump might think, but no. He runs the world, Google. Everything you do, everything you search, it's all there. And by the way, if you're on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, and it's already on your computer and you go do something on Google, I can assure you in the 24 hours when you're on your feed on your phone, it's going to be right there. If you looked up something, it's right there. Talk about value. Value's huge. Who's heard of Tom's? Tom's shoes. Okay. Tom's shoes, for those of you that don't know, are the ugliest, most uncomfortable shoes out there. They are sold in Nordstrom's next to Prada. I say this because they're $60, they're ugly, they're uncomfortable. I've never met anyone who said, oh my God, they're the most comfortable shoes in the world. Why are people flocking and buying them? Because if you buy a pair of Tom's for $60 at your local Nordstrom's or online, they will give a pair of shoes to a student or someone in Africa. Great story. And guess what? Everyone who wears them is so excited to tell you how uncomfortable they are. But they bought them and they're so cool. They're ugly, but hey, it's a story. Patagonia, who's heard of them, knows about them, what they are. They're synonymous for their amazing quality. Everyone knows that Patagonia is it when it comes to winter sports or cold gear or anything of that nature. But what does Patagonia do? Why are they able to sell that same sweatshirt or pullover that virtually looks the same as everybody else for a higher price? Because of the story. Guess what? If you mess up your zipper, just send it back to us. We'll fix it for you. I don't care how old it is. Or by the way, the vest I wore yesterday from Patagonia, it's made from recycled bottles. Big deal. Telling your story and creating that value. You need to tease them with information. And you could do that with a blog. You can do that with YouTube. All of you in this room are phenomenal in your field. You guys all do great stuff. You're all solving solutions on a daily basis. How do we tell that story? How do we get it out there? How do we, as a group, work together to elevate us? And these are the things you do that, whether it's a 30-second clip on YouTube, whether it's a blog that is then linked to your website, that is then linked to, okay, you came to your website, I saw this, now I call you on the phone. That's what it is. And that's really where we're at. So here's my last slide. Thank you. I know I kind of took some people out of their comfort zone getting up here and talking through some of this. I want to thank you all. We're here. Chris and I and the rest of the team, we're here. If you have questions, you want to go through something, or hey, we have this issue, we're not sure how to do it, or we want to try something, let us know. We're here to help you with that over the next few days, because truly, this is where it's going, and we're excited to share it with you guys. Any questions? I think that's a sign of good, or you're really hungry. Thanks, guys. I'll see you guys around.